Okay. Alrighty.
Welcome to the Change Book Podcast. My name is Rachel Best, and this is our co-host.
I'm Nicole Harvick.
And this is the Change Book series. It is the fastest growing self-empowerment book series on the planet.
This spans over 30 countries, and we now bring them all together in a powerful podcast destined to change people from all corners of the globe.
So go ahead and grab your pen and paper, because our guest today is going to share a lot of amazing tips and inspiration that you're definitely going to want to write down.
Hello, everyone. I'm Nicole Harvick, and I'm one of the hosts of the Change Book Podcast. Rachel isn't joining us today. She's a little bit under the weather, but guess what? We're going to keep moving forward. And I can't think of a better way to start the new year than with the interview of one of our great co-authors. And today we have Dr. Carla Hooker. And Carla is a children's dance specialist. She is a pageant coach, and she's a sickle cell warrior. So I cannot wait to hear more about you, Carla. Carla, welcome. How are you today?
I am doing great. This is the first day of the year. I'm excited. I wanted to wear glitter, but I didn't want you to think I was trying to be Liberace or somebody. So I just said, let me calm it down some.
You know what? I think glitter would have been great because all of us shine. All of us co-authors, we're amazing. We shine. We bring knowledge to the world. And I think if we stand out more, we're going to get more attention. So I think next time you just bring it.
I'll do it.
So Carla, you're an author in the Change Book. How exciting is that?
It is extremely exciting. It's life-changing. It's like being in a dream, and I love it. I don't want it to ever end. I love working with our publishers. They're rock stars, Jim Lutz and Jim Britt. It's a dream come true.
You know what? I'm so excited for you because you, first of all, I know you, I call you my friend, and you absolutely deserve it. But tell us a little bit more about your background, what you do, what you believe in, what you're here for.
I have over 30 years experience teaching kids. I am a kids dance specialist. I've taught in the Washington, D.C. area. That's where I started off over in Anacostia. That's in the southeast corridor of Washington, D.C. But I've also taught in High Point, North Carolina. I had children there. And then now I'm in Sanford, North Carolina, which is a very rural community. But I've loved working with children here as well. My background in dance started back when I was 3 years old. My parents enrolled me at Art Linkletter Totten Dance Studio in Temple Hills, Maryland. It's no longer there, but that's where I got my roots, and under the tutelage of Miss Dolly Austin.
So you had a love of dance for a long time then.
Yes.
And working in DC, I would imagine, having been there and you know the challenges that might be associated with it. How did you incorporate yourself into the Washington, D.C. community and make this work with the children?
My father was a Metropolitan Police officer in D.C. My mother was an educator for D.C. public schools. So I was around that neighborhood in Anacostia all the time. I didn't find out until recently when I wrote the book, chapter to the book, that I actually lived on Stanton Road, which is in Southeast. And most of the children that I started with, that's where they lived, in that Stanton Road area in Southeast Washington, where there was a lot of drugs, violence, crime, a lot of things going on. But what wasn't going on was that with the children, nor their parents. They came from very good homes. Mm-hmm. It was just the environment and circumstances that caused them to live where they lived. So I decided, after being on bed rest and bedridden for over a year due to a pilonidal cyst, I'll explain that at another time, that I wasn't going back to college. I was dropping out, and I was going to start this dance program. And that didn't sit too well with my mom at first. My mom's a teacher. You know, she's educating people, and I'm her daughter, and I'm talking about dropping out of school. And the same thing with my dad, being a cop and really into education. They thought I was nuts. But some kind of way, when you want what you want, you know how to talk people into things and out of other things. So
Yeah.
that's how I got started.
That's amazing. And you talked about a health issue, and in knowing you, I know you've had several health issues in the past, and technically we should not be talking right now. Is that correct?
That is correct. I am a survivor of palliative care. Not once, but twice. My organs were shutting down, and I was intubated back at Holy Cross Hospital back in 1996. They told my parents I was not going to make it. They called the priests from the hospital because they said my pastors would not have time to make it from Fort Washington. So they had the priests come and give me my last rites, but I'm still here. And then the second time was more recent in 2021. My dad rushed me to Duke Hospital. I had COVID. And the next thing I knew, I was being wheeled into ICU and then out like Sleeping Beauty for, I don't know, almost a week. And I didn't have to be intubated, but they told my dad when they finally found, when I finally awakened, that I wasn't going to make it. They were going to try to do the best that they could do, but with the 5 teams working on me, they really didn't think I was going to make it. All of my organs had gone into multiple system organ failure, but I'm still here.
Yes, you are. And as a parent, I can't even imagine going through that once, but twice. I mean, you're somewhat of a walking miracle, I would say, to beat that twice. And then I also know that you have sickle cell. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Yes, I'm a walking miracle. Every day that I'm here is a miracle, really, for all of us. I am a sickle cell warrior. That's what we call ourselves when we have this inherited blood disorder. I'm not going to pretend like I'm a doctor or anything like that, because I'm not, other than PhD doctor, and that's honorary. So, and that's another whole story. But sickle cell is when you are born with your blood cells not shaped like donuts. Yours are shaped like donuts, Nicole. I like to use fruit. Mine are shaped like bananas or like a sickle. So instead of these blood cells flowing freely and easily through your veins, through your arteries, through your capillaries, they get stuck in the joints and through these arteries and capillaries and blood vessels. And they become, because of the lack of oxygen, they become hard and sticky. And they almost feel like shards of glass or wood in your body, all over in your muscles and the bones and all the organs. And it causes severe, excruciating pain. That's, in a nutshell, what sickle cell disease is.
Wow. And I've heard of it. I've never really known much about it. Is there a cure for it, or is it just something you will have to live with?
They do have 2 cures. One is through a bone marrow transplant. I do not qualify for that because I'm told it's okay. I'm told that my organs are old. I'm only 55, but with sickle cell disease, your organs and muscles and all of that age about 20 years. So inside my body, I'm more like a 75-year-old instead of 55, even though I feel like I'm 35.
And mentality is like the key to everything, because you're so vibrant. It's like you just keep going. What is your secret for just going forward instead of, a lot of people would victimize themselves. Oh, I have this, I can't do that. I can't walk. And I know in some cases totally that, that's legitimate. I get that. But then I look at you and I hear not only once, but twice, you shouldn't have made it out of the hospital, and you have sickle cell, and here you are writing chapters in books. You're still teaching dance. I mean, you're amazing. So tell me, what's your mindset that keeps you going like that?
My mindset is, I always try to find the positive in everything and everyone. My mother, I will give the most credit to. My mother, the educator, Carla Hooker. When my brother and I would be sick and in a full crisis, and I mean, in a great deal of pain, she would never just let us stay home from school. She would say, go drink some water. Go drink some water. But we're hurting. Go drink some water. Now, she's apologized since then for it, but
okay, we forgive her, don't we?
Yeah. And she's listening, so she'll say, yeah, I said that. My mother's very fiery, very sassy. but it made me more resilient, because when you get out here in the real world, nobody cares. When I say people do care and have a heart, yes, but nobody wants to hear all of that. They really don't, in all honesty. So when we can take what we, the hands that we're dealt with in life and shuffle them and make do with what we have the best way we can, then that makes life all the better. You've got that choice, or you can just be a victim and just live in mediocrity or in lack and just settle. Those are the choices, and it's all up to you.
In knowing you have never settled, have you?
Oh no.
No, I can tell. And some people talk about your mind creates your reality. And if you believe in that, as within, so without, you've created some things for you, but you've remained positive. You've kept going, and you've made such a difference in children's lives. How do you feel about that?
It feels great, but most of that comes from the way I was treated as a child. In kindergarten, and I shared this story with Les Brown, who has written our foreword for the book. He was put in a closet by his teacher, but my kindergarten teacher put me behind her desk. And I can laugh about it now, but it was because I wanted to help everybody. And I'm still that way. I would finish my work before everyone because I was really, really smart. And I already knew how to write my name. I already knew how to add, and I knew my colors and all that good stuff. So I thought I was supposed to mock my mother and go around the classroom helping everybody. I'd get up out of my seat. Hey, Nicole, do you need some help? Hey, Jimmy. Hey, Maddie, who needs help? And it got to the point where my teacher would call my mom and she would say, look, I need her to sit down and stop bothering everybody. And she was like, give her some more work. And she said, I did give her some more work. And then she said, well, give her some more work. And she said, I did. She finished that too. So she called my mom and my dad in for a conference, but that is just who I am. And that's why I let children be who they are and meet them where they're at, instead of trying to mold them and conform them into somebody that they're not.
And you know what? I think that's so important. You've touched upon something I'm really passionate about myself. And it's the fact that just because, the children are small or they don't know what we know at this point, their little brains can be formed. I always let my kids decide. If they wanted to try something, I let them. If they're like, and they always had, if they started something, they did have to finish it. But it's like I knew my girls from the same parents, same, house, same household, completely different girls. And so two different interests. And I never pushed one on the other. How do you do that and just let those children be themselves, who they were born to be?
How do I do that? That's a good question. I have one daughter, so I've always let her explore her options out here and be whoever she wanted to be. She would take out every toy in the basement, and literally it just looked like a junkyard. I bought her a toy box. It was shaped like a boat. She decided she was going to pretend like she was her grandfather on his sailboat and dock the boat in the middle of the basement, instead of just doing what I wanted her to do. And I learned to let her be herself. And if I can let my own child be herself, just like I wanted to be myself as a child, and my parents allowed me to, then why not let children that I'm working with be the same way? I did it as a substitute teacher. I've done it in the juvenile detention centers when I've taught violence and drug prevention. It's just who I am, and they need to be who they are. Just because they're children doesn't mean that they don't have a mind of their own.
Absolutely. And, you can even see that in little ones, 2-3 years old, when you start telling them what to do. It's almost like a natural thing that they, they rear back and they don't want to do that. I almost think that's something we're born with. And, you kind of, I remember thinking, it irritated me at the time, but you want them to keep kind of that natural barrier there to be themselves, so they're not pushed around or molded into what society thinks they should be. Because every single one of us we're all completely different. even if we don't agree with things, that's ours to own. So in the world you're in, which is dance, which I've been in that world too with my daughter. She was a dancer and a pageant girl. That's a tough place, because there's a lot of teachers and a lot of pageant directors that want to mold people to what they think they should be. How did you deal with that?
I'm always just trying to be myself, period. If I can't be myself, then who am I? Arthur Mitchell was my rock. He saw something in me back in 1990 that I didn't see in myself, and gave me a full scholarship to the Dance Theater of Harlem and became my dance dad for life. When my mom would enter me into pageants, it was just natural for me to just do what I wanted to do and be me. That's all I knew. And when I work with a child who doesn't have as much confidence, I don't care what size they are, what color they are, none of that matters, what kind of financial background their parent has, none of that matters. I try to tell them, listen, be yourself, because that will radiate from the inside out, and you can win. And once that clicks and they believe that, the sky's the limit. And that's why I'm a winning pageant coach, because they really have won it on their own, but it's just me pulling out what's there that they don't see.
And when you do pull that out, I want to hear about the change you see in that young woman. What do you, there's a whole different world when someone opens up to who they are and accepts their truth. How do they blossom? What do you see when it's like, wow, I'm okay as I am?
Right. I'm going to use, and she won't mind, Piper Kate. Piper Kate is full figure, like I am. And she was really timid, very introverted. And her dad was like, we're just putting her in this just so she can try something. And I'm like, you're not putting her in it to win? Well, then why is she doing it? So he called his wife, and long story short, she said I could coach her. I told her, listen, yeah, winning's not the only thing, and it's not everything. But if you're in a competition, then you're in it to win it. I said, it doesn't matter your size. It doesn't matter. She had a very short haircut, blonde, short haircut. I said, you're beautiful the way you are. And once you believe that, you can get that crown. I need you to envision yourself wearing the crown. I need you to envision yourself on pageant night and get it in your soul, and you can win. And she won. She walked out on that stage and she shined. And the whole family was there, and they could not believe it. I could believe it because I knew she had it in her all along.
Yeah. And what a difference you made probably from that moment on for the rest of her life, with how she's not only going to see herself, but who she's going to become and flourish and grow into. And I think what you're doing is so important. We're so conditioned by TV and movies, or what we're supposed to be. This thin person, this, long hair, that whatever it is they're selling that month, we're conditioned to think that's what we're supposed to be. And I just look at that, and nothing will ever be gained from going on the outside and being who you think you're supposed to be. Everybody needs to go inward to find that special spark. And I think what you're doing is absolutely amazing. And I need to know, are you still doing this with people? Are you still working with the dancers and pageants?
Yes, I'm available. If I've cut back some with all of my teaching because of the book, and then another book that I have coming out very soon with my childhood memoirs and some of those stories about me getting put behind the teacher's desk and wanting to help everybody. But yes, I'm available. If they want to reach out to me, reach out. I don't care what age you are. It might be a Mrs. Pageant. It might be someone who's never taken dance lessons, and now you're 60 years old or 70 or 80. I've had a student who was 89. God rest her soul, Miss Dorothy, and she was one of my best students ever. Dance and pageantry help you with other aspects of your life, even if it's just to do nothing but instill more confidence within you. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm available, Nicole.
I
Always available.
I love that. I love that. And I remember my daughter in 6th grade, they had a talent show. And she had this group of girls that she wanted to dance with. Well, they all backed out at the last moment. I said, Maddie, just get up there and do it. Mom, I'm afraid, I'm afraid. And she got up there and did it.
See?
And someone came up to her and said, oh, they said, if it weren't for you, that you were the best part of the talent show. That one phrase built her confidence so much that, then she wanted to do pageants and did go on with that. So, you never know what you can do or say to someone that's going to be that defining moment in their life, for them. It was never about me as a pageant coach or, it was like helping those girls to gain self-esteem. And I know with you, it's absolutely the same thing.
Oh, yes.
And you've done it beautifully. So what is next for you, Dr. Carla? What are you going to do with yourself?
I am working on impacting the world in an even bigger way. I'm working with Pfizer, and I'm about to partner with UNC. They're very interested in working with me on these mobile sickle cell units that I want to have all over this area, to go into more rural communities to help people who might not be able to make it to the emergency room because of their level of pain, or they might not have the transportation, or they might not have insurance, or whatever the reason is. So we can reach them where they are. And that's what I've been working on for about the last 5 or 6 months with Pfizer. So in 2024, I'm speaking it. We are going to make that happen.
That's amazing. So would it just be something like a mobile unit that's placed in towns?
It'll be pretty much, I know, have you heard of the mammogram units that go
Oh,
around?
yes.
Pretty much like that, like a mini hospital room or clinic on wheels.
Okay, got. And are you, like, as we're talking right now, is there pain? Or do you have a method to, like, I don't know that you can stop it, but can you lessen it?
As we're talking, I know how to turn off the pain. Now, this morning when I woke up, because I'm being authentic and keeping it real, I was stiff like the Tin Man, like the Tin Man from the Wizard of Oz. I felt like I was going to do the robot.
You need your oil can, oil can.
Oil me. But what I did was put on even last night, I was very, very stiff, very, very sore. I put on my high frequency music. And I'll be very specific when I'm typing in high frequency for pain, and then just let it get into my subconscious until I'm asleep. When I'm asleep, I can't be in pain. That's
so
how
a lot of holistic work then too.
Absolutely. Now I took a Tylenol, extra strength Tylenol. I took a half of a muscle relaxer yesterday, but I wasn't going to take that this morning and be loopy trying to talk to you all.
Come back to me, Carla. Yeah.
That's what I do. I do whatever works for me. Sometimes I'll use an ice pack. Sometimes it's a heating pad. Sometimes it's a massage pad. Whatever works. Sometimes it's just sitting still. Sometimes it's just listening to some gospel music. It's whatever works for me.
So it's day to day, right? I mean,
day to day, hour by hour.
Oh,
the more I'm with the kids, the less pain I feel. I think they're my medicine.
Wow.
The more I'm working with people.
So when you're giving of yourself, your pain lessens.
It does.
I wonder if that would work for everybody.
Maybe everybody should try that.
We should think about that, shouldn't we? Because think about that. We could cure the world. If we were just a little more patient, a little more giving of ourselves. That might be the answer, Carla. Well, we're coming to the end of this, and you're just amazing to talk to, and you're so inspirational. I would like you, I want to go back to the Change book, and I want you to tell people what prompted you to do it, and what do you love about it?
Well, I was discovered divinely by Karen Hager Butler.
That was my gal too. She's amazing.
She is amazing. I thought I was being scammed at first, but I contacted you. I contacted Glenda Kroll, my fairy godmother, and both of you all told me it was completely legitimate and it's real. And the next thing I knew, I was signing my contract and in the book. It's like it happened overnight. I felt like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz.
Wow. And and it is, I feel it's life-changing. It's life-changing for me. And we've got, like you said, some of the best mentors anybody could have with the two gyms.
Yes.
How much better can it get? So how would you convince someone to join the Change book?
I want to say, if you have a book sitting around, or you've always said, oh, I'm going to write a book, I'm going to write a book. If not now, when? This opportunity is an opportunity of a lifetime to be in the Change book series. Your life will never be the same. And you've got two rock star publishers who will help mentor you along the way. You're not in it alone. And then you have a community of co-authors who love on you and will help guide you as well. And this is not just a one and done. You're in the community for a lifetime.
And I think that's the most important part, because I have written in some collaborative books before. And when it's published, it's like, and I'm not saying I don't keep in touch with them, but it is not like this, with the masterminds and with the ability to call these gentlemen, to talk to these gentlemen, and they're there to help. I mean,
Yes.
they want to see our success. And I think that's what separates it. And I think that's why it's worldwide. And I think that's why we have people like Tommy Hopkins, and we have people like, the winner of The Voice, and people like you.
Thank you.
You
and
are
like
so
you.
welcome. Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. So before we leave, tell everybody how to get a hold of you, Carla.
You can get a hold of me by going to my website, www.carlaskidsdance.org. And that's Carla with the K. Carla's with an S, Karlas, kids, no spaces, dance.org.
.org. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. To do this on New Year's Day, I'm just so grateful, because obviously no one wanted to do it on Christmas. And I thought, oh gosh, no one's going to want to do it on New Year's. But, you've made this New Year's very special for me and for the co-authors, and anybody who sees this. I guarantee you that there's so many things that you say and things that you talk about doing that are going to resonate with people. And, when we hear that working with others and giving of ourselves lessens the pain, I think that's something we should all implant in our brain. And, the start of 2024 today, I say, let's do it.
Yes.
Good.
Thank you so much, Nicole. I appreciate the opportunity.
You are so welcome. And I thank everyone who's going to watch this and listen to Carla. She's one of our amazing co-authors. And if you have not considered the Change book, you need to put that on your list for 2024.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you, Carla.
Thank you. Bye-bye, Nicole. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. I'm Nicole Harvick, and this is my co-host,
Rachel Best. And we look forward to seeing you again next time.